Okay, so today I want to show you just how I painted this little folk art angel and some different products that I used to kind of get the shading effect and really how pretty quick and simple it is. I'm just going to use this draft version that I did. The engraved lines are not as dark as I normally do, and this was just a little sample, so we'll just use this. Okay. So the first thing that I want to kind of cover is paint pens, paint markers, alcohol markers. There's all kinds. I have buckets and buckets of different products that I've purchased, and they all kind of have different effects. Alcohol markers, this is just one I'm using to test colors out, but alcohol markers are going to be a lot more transparent. They're made for blending and different projects, but they do give you kind of a transparent surface, and I kind of like that as opposed to something that's much more opaque and paint-like. But it's really up to you, whatever you like to use. I'm going to show you some examples of both. I am going to use these. I think it's Oh Hoo Hoo. I'm not sure. These are just alcohol markers that I got on Amazon. And let's maybe just start with the blue. So what I like about these, again, is that they're a little bit transparent. Same as Sharpies, actually. These Sharpie pastels, they're also a little transparent when you put them on this MDF. Let me show you. I'm not sure how they would be on wood. I think they're the same. I'm pretty sure I've used them on wood also, but I'm using MDF today. So they're a little bit more transparent, and for this project, that's what I want. Sometimes I do want a very opaque painted surface, and there's different markers that do that. I like these vintage chalk markers. I do really like chalk paint pens. I think you get a really nice coverage on your surface. I'm just gonna prime this, and this one's going a little dry, but I'm gonna try to show you. So this is the vintage chalk marker, and this is going to give you a much more solidly painted surface. And if that's the look that you like, then I really do recommend these, or whatever paint pens you like to use that are very solid. But what I am going for today is more of a, I like kind of that worn look. So I'm gonna use these alcohol markers, and these do have a brush tip and a chisel tip. I like the brush tip because you can really get into small areas, as well as it has the bigger surface for covering larger areas. So it's kind of a nice feature of these brush markers. And I just kind of go in little small circles. They don't really leave brush marks, which is nice. Okay, I'm just gonna do one area. I'm not gonna do this whole thing. We'll just go up to there. So I'll let it dry for a second, and then I'll go back and do one more coat on it. And meanwhile, I just want to maybe do the hair to show you. I use these Tombow markers. This set, hopefully it'll show on my camera. This set that I have, it's literally almost 30 years old. I got it for my first wedding anniversary, and I've been married for 28 years. My husband bought me those. They are still almost perfect. Some of them are a little dry, but I absolutely love them. I highly recommend, if they even still sell these. I have to replace a few, so I hope they do. Okay, so Ooh, this one's a little dry. It's okay. I'm just going to try to get some hair coverage here to show you how I add some shading to look like highlights or, you know, just a little interest. Probably needed a better marker. It's okay. I don't know if that's, let's see. Ooh, that's too orange. All right, well, let me see if I can find one actually. Okay, I'll try that. Just add a little bit more color because I don't know if it's going to be enough difference between that first marker I used and the actual MDF to show you shading. This is a little bit better. I'm being really messy. If I was doing this for a customer or a gift, I would obviously be much more careful. Okay, good enough. So now that this has dried, I'm just going to add one more layer of color. And if you want to switch colors with these, you can switch. It blends them together and you kind of get some different interesting colors. I do recommend having a piece of your material close by just to test colors before you apply it on your finished project, in case you don't like it, obviously. Okay. All right, we'll just leave that. Okay, so let's do something here with the hair. So I will use a lot of different things. I use chalks, like, let me grab these. These are just chalk pastels. These are really an old set. You can use oil pastels, Tombow markers, or any water-based marker. Anything that's going to be blendable. Let's see, what should I grab? This is another Tombow marker. That's probably not dark enough. Ooh, not bad. Well, let's try a couple of different things. So if I'm going to use chalks, I just apply it either on a piece of paper or I'll use it. You want to use a color that's darker than what you're doing. I'm not sure what I have in here. So I'll just kind of apply it on a different surface, not on my piece. Get my fingers in there and just kind of blend it out. That's going to give you an overall shading. That's not quite dark enough. All right, well, we'll skip that. I'm going to move to, how about these distress crayons? I have a brown. Okay, here it is. I really like these for blending. Sometimes I'll put this right on my piece. Sometimes I'll put it on a piece of paper, and you're just applying and blending. The color's not great. I wish I had like a lighter brown or some oranges. This is, oh, I have blue on my fingers too, but this is just kind of showing you overall, these aren't colors I would pick. But just where you can put it on and just blend. But what I really like to do Okay. So I would just, ooh, that's a bad looking pen. I would just go in here with a line or a couple random lines. And then I will use a paintbrush and some water. You can use makeup tips or blending sponges, or I'm just going to use the paintbrush for now. And I'm just going to go in there, and you're adding water to just kind of push that color around and blend it out. You don't want any solid lines. If you have like a baby wipe handy too, you can always use that to wipe off something that you've done. All of these products are water-based, so you can see how using the water kind of just moves the paint around and gives you this kind of gradient. And if it's too much, I'll just wipe off with my fingers or a baby wipe or something. Okay, I don't love that I put that color down there, but it's okay. This is really just for playing. It's not for perfection, but maybe I'll get a brown in there so you can really see. Actually, let's just move on to the dress. So I would pick a color. I think I'll use the Tombow, but again, you can use chalk pastels, oils, anything that you can use to blend. But I'm going to add a little bit of a darker color. I like to go in the spots where there would be shadowing, if there was light coming down. Get some water on my brush. Trying to make sure you can really see. Adding the water, just kind of moving this around. You can also use, I have these I bought in Michael's or Joann in like the scrapbooking aisle, but these are just makeup, sponge makeup things. You can buy these much cheaper than paying for them in the craft sections. Amazon, I'm sure, sells tons of them for much less. Anything you can use to kind of just move those hard lines around. I do use my fingers a lot too. You're just trying to create, you know, some interest on your edges. And I like to leave my center a lot lighter. And I will just kind of keep playing with layers until it's exactly how I want it. Or switching up colors and things like that. Okay, well, you get the idea of how to use shading effects around the edges to add a little bit of interest. And let's see, I also wanted to talk about, I don't know if I already mentioned whites. I almost always use Posca markers for my whites. I've tried a lot of different whites, and I just find that it's really the most bold and solid white that I've been able to find. I'll do 2 layers usually because that first layer looks very bold and white, but once it dries, it's a little bit more kind of light gray, I guess. Not quite as super, super white. So sometimes I'll put 2 layers, but I do recommend Posca markers for any whites that you do. I'm gonna cover the eyes and the cheeks, because I know a lot of people end up, when I have blush on a project, they'll message and ask how to do it. It's so easy. For this, I will probably use chalks. I never apply right on my project. I'm always going to use a piece of paper or just an extra piece of material and apply it on there first. You don't want to mess up your project. And my fingers are really covered in product right now, but we'll give it a try. Just gonna rub my finger on it, get some on my finger, and then just gonna lightly. You want to make sure that your area that you're putting it on is sanded well, because it will pick up little tiny fibers. I didn't sand this, I'm not worried about it. That's all there is to blush. Of course, I got some in the hair. Again, if I was really doing this for a project, I would either put a piece of tape or paper there so that it didn't get into the hair. But for now, it's just showing you that. And I'm going to do the same thing with the eyes. You can use, again, the chalk pastels. I happen to have a marker that I tried the other day, and, oh, not that. It was a light brown that was perfect for just giving a little bit of shading, like eyeshadow. But I don't have it close by, I don't think. I should probably clean off this table so I could find things. No. All right, well, I don't have it close by. So I would recommend something that's not too dark. You just kind of want to add a little bit of, this is actually going to be a little darker than I normally. I would find something very close to the skin color, just a tiny bit different. But that's just my choice. You can do whatever you want. So for this, I'm going to use the water because it's water-based, but the marker that I had, I didn't even have to water it out. It was just perfect. I'll have to find that again. That's all there is to adding shading on the eyes. Just a little bit of a light color that you can blend, just to kind of differentiate it from the rest of the face. Okay, I think I covered everything. In this file, so this is obviously on a stand, which I put chalk on. It's just gonna fit in there. I'm not sure if this is the right piece for this one, but it's okay. So in my photos, I had this covered in scrapbook paper. That's a really easy technique. If you've watched any of my other videos, I do show how I did that. It's really easy to do. I'm not going to cover that here, but if you look up some of my other videos on how to use paper or fabric, you could pattern your base if you wanted to. And the only other thing I was going to cover is these little extra pieces that come with the file, so that you can, you could add a word to this. I might make one for my mom. Heart. I have a sharp star and then like a softer kind of folksy star and a flower. And it's just going to sit on top like she's holding it. I did this one with liquid glass, so it's super shiny. And that's about it. I hope this video was helpful.